the reason why you're not losing weight is because you count calories. And if you watch until the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly the diet and the protocol that I use that helped me to go from someone who used to binge eat every single week, at least once a week, especially on the weekends, to someone who doesn't binge eat anymore, and also someone who consistently loses weight when they want to. And so let's just get straight into the video. And let me just preface this video by saying that I don't think calories in, calories out is a scam, right? Because end of the day, it's just thermodynamics. If you eat less in terms of energy than energy that you use every single day, then you are going to lose weight. It's going to come from the stored fat and the stored protein in your muscle, right? It's going to have to come from somewhere. And so I don't think it's a scam. It's just that I don't think it's the right message to send for the mass population. And you can tell why I'm saying that, because look at the state of everyone's weight, just like body fat percentage nowadays, right? It's just a lot more than it used to be. And so it tells you that there's something missing. There's something that needs to be figured out. And I don't think just blasting the message of, yeah, just count your calories and you'll be fine. Just eat less than you, just eat less than the energy that you use, right? Because if that was what people needed, then they would be lean, right? They would not be obese. And so, again, I don't think it's a scam. I just don't think it's the right message. And that's because when the average person hears, yeah, just count your calories, then it doesn't necessarily specify what type of food they need to eat, right? That's why most people they'll eat pizza, donuts, burgers, but they'll track it, right? They'll track their calories. But what happens is that when they eat garbage food, when you eat the Oreos and the Kit Kats, whatever you want to, whatever processed food you want to eat, right? When you eat that garbage that lacks nutrients, it doesn't only lack nutrients that you need in your body in order to survive, in order to break down some foods, in order to like switch between different molecules that you need in your body and a lot of different processes in your body, right? You need micronutrients, and that's something that most ultra processed foods lack, right? So when you lack those nutrients, but you also, on the other hand, have a lot of different ingredients that also harm your body, like red 40 and different dyes, even though sure you need a lot of red 40, you need a lot of aspartame in order to have significant effects, but all those little things add up, plus like actual like scientifically proven ingredients like nitrates that that are in deadly meats, for example. So when all those ingredients add up over a long term especially, it's going to cause effects to your body, and your body is not going to be optimal, right? It's not going to be healthy. You're not going to be metabolically healthy. And so having that combination of no nutrients but also harmful ingredients, it's not going to set you up for success. You're going to be more prone to like just gain the weight back. And why do I say that? It's because if you're not metabolically healthy, your mood is also not going to be regulated, right? Your mental health isn't going to be as regulated. You're not going to feel as healthy and happy and satisfied, right? You're going to feel more anxious because your hormones are not regulated, right? You ever heard of the gut-brain axis? That means the health of your gut is going to determine like what signals your brain is going to send, right? And so when you eat all this garbage food, you're going to dysregulate your gut microbiome, which sends signals into your body, right? If you have more of the bacteria that likes to eat sugars because you're just eating Oreos every day, then when you start going on a diet, and even though you're still eating ultra processed foods, but you're not eating it as much because you have to limit your calories, your bacteria is going to send signals to your brain to like pump out hormones to make you more hungry, to make you crave more carbohydrates. It's going to send out ghrelin and different hormones that are going to make you more hungry, right? And so just because you're counting your calories doesn't mean that you're going to lose weight, at least over a long term. That's why most people, they lose some weight, but then they gain it back and some more as well. So they're still overall gaining weight. So you're bulking, but you're also just not enjoying your life because most of the days you're just in a calorie deficit, but then you just destroy it all in one day of the week. But if you were to instead focus on nutritious food, whole foods that actually grow in plants or from animals that actually live on Earth, right? Food that we've been eating for the last 50 plus thousand years. Food that has been evolved and that we've naturally selected to keep us alive. If we eat that, I believe at least, it's going to be a lot healthier for us. And it's going to be a lot better in general just to lose weight. Right? Because naturally those foods are packed with nutrients. Because we've evolved to eat those foods to stay alive. So there's a reason why we keep eating those foods. Right? I guess before man-made food was a thing, at least. But those foods are packed with micronutrients that are going to make your body feel satisfied, right? And so even if you're in a slight to a moderate calorie deficit, the fact that you have at least an adequate amount of those micronutrients, and also macros of course, but it's usually people usually lack micronutrients and not macronutrients, right? And so once your body feels that it has an adequate amount, it's not going to signal to your brain to dysregulate your hormones as much. You're going to be more stable. And it's also going to make your mental health a lot better. Your mood is going to be a lot more stable. You're not going to just randomly get more anxious or more depressed, which can make you eat more, right? If you're depressed, you're going to eat your sadness out. Or if you're anxious, you're going to eat your worry out. And so I feel like this is something that feels revolutionary to me, but it shouldn't be. But it's something that I just struggled with a lot before. I used to always eat ultra-processed food, and it would just, I guess compared to now, I wasn't living, or I didn't feel healthy, right? I'd always feel groggy and tired and fatigued and a lot more anxious, right? And I just, I don't know. There's a feeling that only people that change their lifestyle can feel, because you're just comparing retrospectively. But yeah, once you do make the switch and live a healthier lifestyle, including your nutrition, you're going to look back and think about how unhealthy you used to feel and how sometimes you thought that was normal. But generally, truth to heart, if you switch to a whole foods diet, if you just, basically the name of the diet or the description of the diet is don't eat anything that comes in a box. Anything that's packaged. If it has an ingredients list, you most probably should avoid it. Sure, a lot of different, not a lot, maybe 1%, maybe less than 1% of packaged food has truly only natural ingredients, right? Like let's say it's like a fruit bar or something, and it's made of 5 different fruits. Sure, that's not bad for you, right? If they're not lying about the label and the ingredient list, then yeah, that's not bad for you. But reality is most packaged foods have at least 1 or 50 ingredients that you don't even know what they are. You don't even know what the ingredient is. Why are you putting it in your body, right? And so make the switch to a whole foods diet, and that's going to solve 80% of the problem when it comes to losing weight and actually keeping the weight off. And apart from that, a lot of different big tips that I also use include just coffee in the morning, right? It makes you feel more energetic. It's a appetite suppressant, and so you're going to stay not hungry or not as hungry for longer. Another thing that I've been doing is just intermittent fasting. Just because most people, and that is also true for me, where it's easier for me to not eat at all than just eat something very small, right? And so snacking doesn't work for me because a snack becomes a three-course meal, right? I can't just eat a handful of carrots and just call it a day, right? Like once I eat, like my body's just sending hunger signals. I'm just getting hungrier by the minute. So until like I stuff myself, I'm not gonna be satisfied. And that's why I like intermittent fasting, because I can push my first meal to like close to like mid to the end of the day. And so I can stuff myself while still keeping myself in a calorie deficit. But by the time I'm hungry, it's too close to bedtime. Like I can fight off the last hour, 2 hours of the day where I'm gonna be a bit hungry, right? But let's say I start eating my first meal at 8 a.m., right? And I can't stuff myself, because if I stuff myself and use all my calories at 8 a.m., then I have to fight a 10-hour thing when I'm hungry for the rest of the day, right? So I usually push my meal to like not before than 2 p.m., right? More frequently around like 4 or 5 p.m. And honestly, I don't even eat past 7 as well, because if I eat too close to bed, then I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night to like go to the bathroom and stuff. And so I try to end my eating like around 3 hours before bed. So if I sleep at 10, then I'll stop eating at 7. And so honestly, I've been doing around like a 20/4 cycle, where I'm fasting for 20 hours of the day and I'm eating around like a 4-hour eating cycle. And this makes it a lot easier, right? And once you do it for a week or longer, you won't even get crazy hungry in those hours that you're fasting. It's only like when the time for eating comes around, then you get those hunger signals. It's just you're just regulating your circadian rhythm to like kind of work for you, right? And so doing all this is just making your body and your brain just work for you, work in your favor. And so yeah, coffee, intermittent fasting, and the last big one is just high protein but also high fat, and that's something that a lot of people ignore. And so sure, protein, you want to get a lot of protein, especially in the first meal of the day, right? Because it's just more filling. That's just the way it is. You're not gonna overeat on steaks. Like you have to try really hard to overeat on steaks. Like you have to intentionally want to like bulk on steaks, right? But if you're trying to like, let's say, lose weight on steaks, like people do in carnivore, it's a lot easier to lose weight, right? You're still gonna get cravings for carbohydrates. You're gonna have low energy from just not having carbohydrates, and low electrolytes as well, which is another story. But just the fact of just like hunger, you're not gonna be hungry, right? I actually sometimes you're just not even gonna want to eat at all, because it's just so filling. Like you don't want to put anything in your mouth. So that's why you want to have a high protein diet, and especially in the first meal of the day. But also make it high fat, because fats are also more filling than carbohydrates, right? And so I try to lower my carbohydrates a lot more than usual, right? Like I won't have them more than 150 grams a day, which, to be fair, isn't low. It's not like keto diet low, because I don't like keto as well. It just makes you feel really fatigued, right? That's usually like 50 grams or less of carbs a day, which I don't like. I still train and I move around, so I need the energy just to feel good. But you need to increase your fats as well, because it is more filling, right? And you want to just usually just have that with the first meal as well, because you can just get protein sources that are also high in fat. And so like eggs, beef, if you get like chicken thighs, it's going to be higher in fat. Fish as well, some of it has fat. And then you want to put your carbs closer to the end of the day, in your last meal of the day. The reason why I say that is because it helps you sleep. And the way it does that is by, first of all, it's going to increase your blood sugar, which is going to decrease your cortisol, right? Because the job of cortisol is to increase your blood sugar. And so once you exogenously increase your blood sugar, then your cortisol is just going to go less through a negative feedback loop. And also, when you eat more carbs, you're going to secrete more serotonin because your digestive system does secrete most of the serotonin in your body. And so once you eat more carbs, you're going to increase serotonin, which is the feel good molecule or hormone, which is why you feel good when you eat carbohydrates. And once you increase your serotonin, you're also going to increase your melatonin, because serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, right? And so you make melatonin out of serotonin, right? And you need melatonin to sleep, and you need low cortisol to sleep, right? So all of that combined is going to help you sleep a lot better. If you try going on like a 0-gram carb diet, your sleep for most people is going to be really bad. At least for like the first while, because your cortisol is going to be through the roof, right? And your melatonin might not be high near your sleep cycle. And so all those tips combined have helped me, not binge like I used to. I'm telling you, like at least once a week, especially on the weekends. I don't know why. It would just be nuts. That's all I can say. It would be crazy. Like, I couldn't control myself. It felt like someone else was controlling me. My mind was controlling me, right? So just taking agency through eating natural, whole foods has changed the game for me. And so follow all these tips, and you just come back and tell me what difference it makes. And also, if you want to get even more advice to help you stay healthy, help you with your goals, whatever it might be, gaining weight, losing weight, maintaining, gaining strength, right? You can do that while still eating healthy, because you will just feel healthy and you'll be able to have a more sustainable diet, a more sustainable lifestyle in general, just by eating healthy and optimizing your health over everything else. And so, if that sounds interesting, then check out my program, my community. It's the first link in the description. And over there, you're going to get 10 times the detail of advice. And yeah, I'll see you there.